Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Smoke Signals. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach Wayne Coleman. Coach, non-district win number 3, a big win over Mount Pleasant. I know the first half wasn't exactly like you wanted it, but boy, your players came out in the second half and took over.
They did. We really played fairly well the first half. It's just that Mount Pleasant was doing a lot of good things, and a lot of times in the game of football, you beat yourself more than you actually win the game, and we weren't beating ourselves in the first half, and good football teams don't beat themselves, and we just maintained a steady head and kept doing what we were doing, and things worked out for us in the second half.
Another strong running game for your offense, 407 total yards, and again, I keep looking at this average yards per play, Coach, and it's been consistent for the first 4 ball games, right at 7 yards a play. I know that you can't complain about that. That's pretty effective.
It is. We're excited about that. We're running the ball really well. We had been throwing the ball well. We just had a couple drops the other night, but that's going to happen. You're playing high school football. It happens on Saturdays and Sundays too when you're watching television. So we had been catching the ball, catching everything, and we just had a couple drops that slowed us a little bit in our passing game.
Of course, going into the ball game, you knew that you could have played your senior running back, Wooded Johnson, but you wanted to hold him out, let him rest that knee. And I got to tell you, Zacharias Hinton came in, D. Spencer came in. They really did what you wanted them to do, was to pick up that load that you lost with Wuda on offense.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very exciting to see those guys step right in and us just keep going and not miss a beat without Wuda. And it was good for him to get some rest on that banged-up knee.
Of course, Cameron High, another huge game, 212 yards rushing. Up to 771 in 4 ball games. And, you know, we keep saying on Smoke Signals each week how, well, the teams are going to load the box and they're going to stop Cam. And so far it's been tough. And, again, your offensive line is doing a tremendous job getting off the ball and getting underneath the pads of that defensive line and getting him some space.
Yeah, they are. I mean, those guys have got some experience now. They're doing a great job for us. A lot of them played last year. We've got 3 seniors. Justin Crow, Jadarius Blake, and Robbie Bell are doing a great job for us, and Henry Hernandez now has stepped in and played some power fullback for us. So we've got some kids that are doing a great job up front, opening the holes.
Defensively, an outstanding ball game. Mount Pleasant had 300 yards of offense. Defensively, leading Josh McDowell had 4 tackles. DeQuellen Thompson, another huge ball game continuing from last week against Hallsville. He had 2 sacks. Bacon Watkins had a sack, and you got 2 picks. Cameron Franklin and Devin Henry both got interceptions. And, you know, Coach, when your offense has been kind of carrying the load for the first couple of ball games, your defense is really starting to kind of come together too.
It is. You know, it's really not a mystery. We're running the same offense they ran for 10 games last year. So now they're in their 14th game of the same system. We installed a new defense in the spring, so they've just finished playing their 4th game in the 3-4 package. So we are gradually getting better on the defensive side of the ball, and lucky for us, we've got 5 non-district games, and it's working out well for us that we're starting to make some improvements on defense.
Coach, this is one of those trap games. You're going into you make the long drive to Mount Pleasant. They're 0-3. They've struggled, and the first half was, you said the team played well, but you're down 10-7 at the half. But when the team came out in the second half, and this is a credit to you and your staff, is they didn't seem panicked. They didn't seem upset. They didn't seem angry. They just went out and took care of business. So I'm sure that you reminded them of that. Hey, just play your game, keep playing. No panic at all when you're down 10-7 to an 0-3 team. I think that was a sign of growth for this football team.
Yeah, it is. When you have when your expectations change to we should win, there's a little bit of a trap possibility there that you come out flat and you don't play well. But by the same token, at halftime, when you know you're only down 3 points and you feel like you're the superior team, you have this calmness about you about, okay, well, what's the problem? How do we fix it? What are we going to do this second half to make sure that we come out on top? And everybody was very calm at halftime, and the adjustments were made, and the kids executed really well in the second half.
And we'll see some of these on the highlights, but I know you were very happy about the improvement in special teams play.
Yeah, we played a really almost a complete game against Hallsville the week before. Our our big weakness was our kickoff coverage, and we're probably going to score 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. So that team is going to have to go out and make 4 or 5 big plays a game. And Friday night, and we worked hard on it during the week, and then Friday night at Mount Pleasant, I was really proud of our kickoff team.
Jacksonville gets the win 34-16. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from last week's game against Mount Pleasant. Of course, here's Cam doing what he does. First drive.
Yeah, this was, I think, like a 4th down and 2 situation, and they loaded the box. And, of course, when you do that, all you got to do is crease it just for a little bit, and it's going to be a big play.
I mentioned Zaquarius Hinton. Here he is with a nice run.
Q really had a good game. Just a tough kid. Shows up every day and works hard.
Here's DeMontre Christopher here making a play.
Montre played some more defense for us this week than he's been playing, and he had a really good game for us, solid game.
Mount Pleasant shows some spark right here with a touchdown run.
Yeah, we set the edge really good there. We didn't get a safety fit, and that's what happens when you got to have all 11 guys do their job.
Of course, this young man had 130 yards rushing for Mount Pleasant. Here's another big run for him.
They did a good job surprising us with the option. Friday night, we didn't make adjustments fast enough to get it contained, and they exploited it.
Well, he had a 44-yard run for a touchdown last week against Hallsville on his only carry. And here's D. Spencer again with a huge 57-yard run for a touchdown.
Yeah, some good blocking there. Cam made a really good read on the defensive end, and that's what can happen when the quarterback makes the right read.
Now here's a deep kickoff to Mount Pleasant, and watch DeMontre Christopher, and Braden Horn cleans it up right here. But this is what you were talking about, Coach, about the great kicking.
Yeah, you can see Montre's out ahead of everybody. He's outrunning the block, and he's going to blow up the first blocker and clean it up for Horn to finish it. Just great effort on our kickoff coverage.
Well, he was definitely smoking down the field. And here's the block extra point.
Yep, Braden Horn gets the block there. Great effort to get on special teams. We're getting better on our special teams, and you have to be if you're going to beat good teams.
People kind of fell asleep right here, and D. Spencer said, "I'm going to run this thing out."
And it almost turned into a big play there.
So here's your onside kick you get. What a hop. Look at that. Perfectly executed.
Yeah, great execution by Juan Nunez, and Bush recovers that, and that was a big play in the game.
And here's Emilio Meza and Tequilin Thompson, and then Flavio gets the sack.
Yeah, good pressure on their quarterback. I was really happy with our 4th quarter pass defense.
Bacon Watkins right here. That is an unassisted sack right there.
It's good hustle by the big boy.
Here comes one of your interceptions, one of 2 in the ball game here. That's D. Spencer stepping in front.
Yep. It was good to get a couple picks there in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Makes you feel good about your defense.
Yeah, and here's the quarterback fumbling the ball, and Tequilin Thompson right there. Another big game by the sophomore for you on the defensive front.
He is. Tequilin's making some big plays for us this year.
Cam Franklin gets in the action here and gets him a pick.
Yeah, we got a high point there by Cam. We didn't see that earlier in the season, but Cam did a great job on that play.
So great win, 3-1 now, Coach, and I think you're right where you wanted to be going into this last non-district ball game, particularly on the injury side. As we say, Wood Johnson, of course, he could have played, but you were able to sit him, and that's you have your nicks and bruises right now, but nothing really major, and that's a good thing.
It is. We've got some kids that are just a little bit banged up. But for the most part, we've got all of our starters out there, and we've been very fortunate.
Well, it's going to be Alvarado coming into Tomato Bowl for a rare Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock kickoff at Tomato Bowl. And Coach, the Alvarado Indians, they're also 3-1 coming in, and this is a team that a lot of people aren't familiar with. And I remember asking you about this after the ball game the other night in the post game. Tell us about Alvarado, the program. It's a good 4A program.
They are. They have a great tradition there. Some of the East Texas people might remember back about 4 or 5 years ago when Chapel Hill beat them in the state championship game. So they're used to winning. They put a winning team on the field every year, a playoff team. They're going to be it's going to be a great challenge for us. They play physical football. smash mouth, but it's clean football. They just do it. They have a classy program, and we're excited to have them come to the Tomato Bowl.
And as I was checking their scores last week, and I came across the final, I thought it was a first quarter score. It was 7-6. They beat Brownwood last week, and you just don't see many 7-6 ball games anymore.
No, I guess apparently they had some storms come through, and the game got cut short. So they ended up they were ahead 7-6 at that time when they had to stop the game. So, but they do play really good defense. It wouldn't surprise me if the final would have been 7-6. They're solid on the defensive side of the ball. They're solid on the offensive side of the ball. They just have a great program.
I remember that state championship game against Chapel Hill, and do they do the same things they did in that ball game offensively? Yeah,
they sure do. They're under center most of the time. They play with a tight end. They'll have a wing. They're going to play hard-nosed football, run the ball right at you, and their quarterback's a great athlete. It's going to be a great challenge for our defense.
Yeah, and it gives you a good look for Ennis, because that's what the Ennis Lions do, and you'll see them in district play. So particular individuals to look for Alvarado that look pretty good offensively?
The quarterback's the main guy. The tailback's pretty good, but the quarterback is the guy that really scares you. Just a talented kid. We've got to keep him contained.
You mentioned their defense, and I know you've looked at their ball games. Have they played against a quarterback that like Cam High, your quarterback? Have they been able to stop someone like him? Has anybody been close to that?
The Decatur quarterback that they played was an athletic kid. He ran around a lot. He was in shotgun. They didn't do a lot of the zone read stuff that we do. They mostly threw the football, but he was able to get off some good runs on them. So we're hoping that Cam can do the same thing.
You know, we were talking last week on the ball game on the air about the quarterback position and how it's evolved over the years. Used to, you would have quarterbacks that were, say, a running quarterback, but they didn't throw the ball. Now they're both. I mean, we're seeing, like the John Tyler kid, the Robert Lee quarterback, and of course Cam High is leading all of East Texas in combined offense. And the quarterbacks today, not only are they extra running backs, but they can throw the ball as well. Going into this last non-district ball game, I know that we keep saying this. What if Alvarado loads the box, and is it just going to be another one of those things where your passing game is just going to come if they give it to you?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of us once again executing the big play action pass if somebody loads the box, and we've done that. Over the last few games. Surprisingly, Mount Pleasant really didn't load the box. They kept two safeties back most of the night, which took away some of our big pass opportunities. But we've got to be ready every Friday night. If that time comes, we've got to be able to play fake and hit a home run. It's
a rare Saturday afternoon game. I know that you and the Alvarado coach scheduled this because of the distance in the two towns, 2.5 hours or so. And playing it on a Saturday so you don't come home late on a Friday night. How has that affected your schedule this week, practicing and things? Because you're playing on Saturday, not Friday night.
Right. You got to be careful when you start changing schedules on kids. They don't handle change very well. So we're trying to keep it as close to the same as possible. And basically what we're doing right now is we're just going to try to get one extra walkthrough in at the end of the week that we wouldn't normally get. So we're going to keep our schedule the same all week, and then try to get one little extra walkthrough in, just so we can keep the kids in their routine.
Coach, what are the keys to the game against Alvarado this week?
We're going to be a lot of pressure on our what we call our outside linebackers. They attack the edge really well. Alvarado's offense does. So guys like Josh McDowell and Braden Horn and DeMontre Christopher are going to have to have good games, be physical football players, and but that's okay. I mean, we expect that from those kids. They've done a great job for us so far.
The mental part of being 3-1 at this point has to be a positive, obviously. I mean, anytime you have a winning record, but for this team, this program, to have a chance to go to 4-1 and get that week off before Corsicana rolls in. the next week. I mean, this is not what I would say just a hugely significant, critical ball game. I'm not saying that, but it would be a great way to end the non-district schedule for a team that hasn't had the success in non-district in the past.
Yeah, it would.
A few years anyway.
It would. It'd be a big confidence booster if you can get a win against a program like Alvarado, then you know that you're going in the right direction. And not to take anything away from some of the teams we've beaten, but they don't have the tradition that Alvarado has.
Yeah.
So this would be a feather in our cap if we could pull this one off. It would show us that we really are making improvement.
Did you order some cooler weather Saturday afternoon at 2:00?
Actually, the temperature is supposed to be about 5 degrees cooler on Saturday than it is this week. It's been a hot week, and it's been tough out there practicing in the afternoons, but it's supposed to cool off a little bit Saturday. But we might get wet.
We could. I saw maybe possibility of rain, though. So
that's okay. We like the wet.
That's right. We can do. You've done well when it's rained.
Yes,
so
we do.
That's right. Well, it's Jacksonville versus Alvarado, 2:00 Saturday afternoon at Tomato Bowl. We'll be on the air at 1:30 on 103.9. You can also listen to us online, and you can see that online address right there on your screen. Well, thanks, Coach Coleman. Appreciate you coming in again for Smoke Signals. And today we have a special guest with us, Cameron High, quarterback for the Jacksonville Fighting Indians. Cam, thanks for being with us here on Smoke Signals. And man, it's been a great first 4 ball games for your team. You're up 3-1 now.
Yes,
Alvarado coming in this Saturday. And what does it mean to be 3-1 at this point of the season, as opposed to last year when you, as a junior, when the team was struggling in non-district, trying to get used to a new coaching staff? You just look more comfortable out there.
Yeah, it's just, the coaches, we ain't got used to the coaches. We play a lot better. Also, we are into the game now. We're being more confident, Like, we play even stronger. I don't know what. I guess we had a good offseason. Everybody got stronger. I'm talking about the line that got bigger. We done got bigger, skill and got faster. It's just, I don't know, it's way better than last year. I don't know why.
One of the things that really I think helped you guys was the 7-on-7. You went to the state tournament for the first time in Jacksonville history, and talk about that experience and going to the state tournament and how that helped you and your receivers get more in sync with each other.
We had more confidence, I gave them the ball, we passed the ball, good. It give us more. Hey, what's the word?
Well, your timing looks better. I mean, you guys look like y'all are in sync. Like you're throwing the ball on the break now, as opposed to like when you would wait until they got out there. I mean, you just look more comfortable back there throwing the football, and I think 7-on-7 had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it gave us more chemistry. It gave us, like you said, timing came better, and it gave us an experience that we haven't had before. Going to state is real different. When we got there, it was a whole new ball game. People was ready to play.
Everybody down there is good. Yeah. Cam, coming into this last non-district ball game, you have 771 yards rushing. I mean, if you would have thought before the season started that you would have this many yards going into the 5th game, does that surprise you, or is that just something you said, well, if the defense is going to give us that, I'm going to run the ball? I mean, does it surprise you that y'all been able to put that many yards running the ball from the quarterback position?
Yeah, it does. Like, I honestly think they will be ready because, last year I had a good season rushing the ball.
Yeah, 1,500 yards last year. You'd think people would know.
I know, but they still give it to us. I understand why, but we ain't got the passing game more too, so it's real scary.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because last year the passing game was not anywhere near where it is right now as far as the timing and the chemistry we talked about a minute ago. But 1,500 yards last year. Coach Coleman and I continually talk here on Smoke Signals about, well, this week, surely they're going to load the box and stop Cam High running the ball. And there you go with 200 yards again like last week. So, but to your credit, though, it's you reading. I mean, you're reading what's coming through there, and you're taking what the defense gives you. It's not just you running the ball. You make a decision, don't you?
Yeah, so I'll read the end. If it's not the end, if it's an out front, I still read the end. If they crash or if they go out, I give the ball, or if I either run it. I don't understand. They fly in. I don't get it. Like, I think they should load the box. I don't know why.
You're wondering why those defensive ends are crashing down, don't you? I mean, you would think they would watch the film and say, he's probably going to keep this one.
I don't know, but I guess they just being disciplined, doing what Coach say, I guess.
Well, the last 2 weeks against Hallsville last week, you won the coin toss. You went down and scored on the first drive, and then last week you had a 56-yard touchdown. Or last week was a 48-yard pass to Devin Henry that you made, and then this past week you ran 56 yards for a touchdown on the opening drive, and you got your team the lead. The difference this week was your team was down 10-7 at the half to Mount Pleasant. Was there any panic in the locker room? Was there anybody upset, mad, angry? This team's 0-3. We're down 10-7. Anything like that going on?
I mean, we was, a little upset because, we should have came out better. We should have came out with more fire. But when we got in the, we didn't panic. We got in the locker room. We talked about it, and then we came back out strong. And I was really proud of my team for doing it because if it was last year, we probably would have laid down or something.
So Alvarado's coming in this Saturday. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about Alvarado? You've watched film of them. What do they do well that you're going to have to contend with this week on defense? What do they do on their defense that they do well?
They're real disciplined. So, but we still have to find a way to, coaches can do that. But they're real aggressive. Like, they can hit. They're not hitting legs, they hitting up top.
Right.
So we got to be ready. We got to be more physical. They're a real physical team.
Do you think this is the best defense that you've seen so far this year? Yes,
sir. I really do because, just by looking at them and seeing how good they are, it's like real different from Hallsville or Mount Pleasant because they play deep, but they look like they're gonna come with some heat.
Yeah,
more physical. So.
And it's a Saturday afternoon game at 2:00 at Tomato Bowl.
Oof.
How cool is that? I mean, it
cool.
may be a little warm, but
it's gonna be hot though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of gives you maybe an opportunity to kind of get that college feel, maybe.
Yes,
yeah. They play on Saturday, so.
I think we played last year on Saturday against John Tyler.
Yes, we did.
I think it was at 2. Also, I think, or was it a little bit earlier?
It was. I think it was at 2:00, but this game's different because it's at Tomato Bowl.
Yes.
Tomato Bowl has not had a 2:00 afternoon game I don't think ever.
Whoa.
But yeah, that one, you're right. They did play an afternoon game last year, JT.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be ready for it. We practicing hard in the heat. It's hot too.
So you get looking a little bit deeper, Cam, into your season. You get the open date after this ball game, and then Corsicana rolls in for the first district ball game. Talk a little bit about your mentality after this ball game. Do you go into a different mode because it's district? I mean, does every game mean the same thing to you, or does like the light bulb go off and say, okay, now this is for real now?
Right. It's for real now. We got to step up even more. We got to practice even harder than what we've been doing because our goal is to try to make it state, honestly. That's the goal. That's what I think the goal should be. But we really need to get in the playoffs this year. I think we had a potential. We have full potential to get in the playoffs. If we just keep pushing like we pushing and keep grinding like we've been grinding.
Now, I've watched you when you were on the varsity as a sophomore, and you got a few snaps at quarterback, quite a different than the way it is today. And you've kind of evolved. I've watched you evolve more as a more vocal leader. What do you attribute your leadership style to? Because the quarterback, everybody looks at the quarterback to be the leader. Okay, do you think you're vocal, or do you try to say, well, I'm just going to do everything by my actions? Which one of those do you mainly try to lean on?
Well,
both?
But I'm more an action leader, but I'm trying to, work on my vocal lead skill, because Coach Kennedy keep pushing me every day to be a vocal leader, so I've been trying to work on it.
Yeah, he's coached some pretty good quarterbacks in the past, up at Gilmer and those places, and I'm sure he ranks you probably somewhere up there with some of the great quarterbacks that he's had, and a lot of those guys were vocal leaders. And is that a struggle for you to do that, or is that something that you have to really mainly focus on? Because when you're trying to be the boss of your peers, it's kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is kind of hard because sometimes they won't listen to you, or they'll just be like, they don't know what you're talking about. It's kind of hard to be vocal when people don't want to listen. So.
Sure. I want to ask you about one other thing, and we'll close. The homecoming. You were crowned homecoming king,
yes,
and
sir.
If people haven't heard this story, you abdicated your throne, so to speak. And could you share a little bit about giving that crown away and who you gave it to and why?
I gave it to Darius. We've been friends since we was young. Yeah, and he's very special. Me and my mom, we knew them since I think first grade. She knew his mom, and I knew her too. But I feel like giving it to him would be more special to him. Having him smiling is more special feeling to me. Giving it to him and unselfishness. I feel like that I deserved it, but I think he deserved it more.
Well, it warmed a lot of hearts. You got a lot of kudos from that, and people were very happy with you doing that. And hey, listen, we appreciate you coming on the show today on Smoke Signals, and much success, continued success, and good luck this week against Alvarado.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That's Cameron High. I'm Matt Montgomery. Thanks for being with us on this special edition of Smoke Signals.